Hi, class. I hope everything's going okay. I saw one student last week. That was great to see him. Let me tell you, I miss you. I hope you're doing well. Everything's going okay at Northside. If you ever want to come in and do some work, because I know it's hard to do it at home, please come in. There's not many people coming to your class. One of the things that I want to tell you is, well, now I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, you guys. Um, that if you need to catch up, come on in. Not many people will be in your class, but I know it's hard to work from home. I'm going to put this PowerPoint on Schoology 2 so you can get some of your answers to the end of the this term's questions and key terms. This is an important part of this class is management. I'm going to link it to teachers. Some of y'all have not had a job yet. So, a manager or management, what it means is your boss, your teacher, somebody that is over you and make makes sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. They manage a business. That is my brief analysis. I'll go over some more bookie terms here as I go through this PowerPoint. So the objectives and the key terms that I will give you a sheet for you to type up are they're scrolling now. So what we'll do are do the three levels of management, name the five functions of management, and look at effective management techniques. Okay, so in the business world, in the education world, there's business education and then government, and then we've also got nonprofit organizations. So they all function a little bit differently, but you're probably going to be in the business world sometime in your job. Even retail is business too. So there's constant change in this world. Even with this COVID, you can tell the change, and we're probably never. It's going to change more since this epidemic. So global competition is increasing. There's the term you'll see globalization there. Globalization is that everything is going around the world, and every country competes for different things. Some countries farming is a big thing. Some countries technology is a big part of their economy. So just depending on what country, they're from. Of course, we're in the United States and we do a little bit of everything in this country. I'm proud to be an American. I hope you are too. One of the things in our workplace, when I was in the workplace earlier, there was not as much diversity in the United States. I am proud that we are a diverse nation now. Uh, Men and women, immigrants, all kinds of people working together. But that also changes our culture. Do you know what culture is? We all have a culture. I'm a white, older woman compared to you, and so I come from a white background. You might be different. You might be Hispanic. You might be African American, and we all have a culture coming from our family. Every workplace has a culture. Every school has a culture. Every classroom will have a culture. You can feel the culture in a classroom. Like the culture means how a place functions and your norms. A norm is something that you uh, can do or don't do. A norm might be how do I ask a teacher to go to the bathroom? She has rules. Cultures are our rules that we abide by, and we sometimes don't even think about our culture. So here's the vocabulary and how this slideshow presents management. It involves developing, implementing, and evaluating the plans and activities of a business. It's the process of deciding how best to use a business's resources to produce goods or provide services. Some companies might have three tiers of management depending on the how big a company is. Some companies are small. Um, so in this one, we're going to go over the three types of management. So there's always goals and management and how to accomplish the goals in the best way that you can for your company. Here's the three levels. And it does say large corporations usually have three different levels, and their levels are top management. This might be the owner, the one that manages the money, and the person that manages the people. There's middle management. They oversee like they oversee a group of people. Supervisor management they might be right there with you managing the people when you're starting out. You could make it to any of these other levels. It takes time usually to be a senior manager or to start your own business, okay? This slideshow has Frederick Smith as a senior manager. He's supposed to be a very good senior manager, and he's the chairman of the board at FedEx. FedEx is a shipping company like UPS and are also our government organization, which is our mailing company too. Well, it's part of our government, the U.S. Mail. So the highest level, they can be called a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. You will hear that term later on if you've never heard it before. That's what that acronym means. An acronym is the letters that represent the term. So Chief Executive Officer is a CEO. They're usually the top person in the company. That could be the owner. There's also President. COO is Chief Operating Officer. CFO is Chief Financial Officer, Vice President, or Chairman of the board. Large companies a lot of times have a board of directors. They help make decisions. If it's a corporation that is traded on the stock market, they might have a board. A chairman of the board would usually, sometimes the chairman of the board can be a CEO or a vice president, but they can be a owner of the company, or they can be a manager of another business that is linked to your business. Like banks will have board of directors. It's like we have a board with the school board. We have a school board, and they help make the big decisions. Okay. Next is middle management. They're responsible, like I said, for a group in the company, a large company, and they are responsible for senior management decisions. They do functions of the business. They might be in HR and have the HR part, human resources that manages people, or they're in the finance department, or they're in the operating department. They are maybe over a department of the business. I'm a department head for CTE, so I'm really actually kind of in middle management. Okay, next one. Supervisory management. They run the day to day affairs of a business. They show a supermarket manager right there. He helps make sure everything runs smoothly. So they can be crew leaders and store managers as well. This is what management does. These are their functions. They supervise and direct others. All managers in an organization must engage in these five basic activities: planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. So, planning, of course, is just setting your goals, making sure everything's running right. If you want to change a goal, a long term goal, or a short term goal, this is part of what they do. But they've got to be flexible, they've got to be realistic, and they've got to be comprehensible. They've got to be SMART goals. I don't know if you've heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable. Um, A means accountable, realistic, and time bound. SMART goals, planning with good goals in mind. Nothing unrealistic, nothing that you can't actually reach. Okay, that's what planning is in a business. Organizing. I like to do jigsaw puzzles, so I put that one's in there. And you put the pieces together to make it all work. So you will have different departments, maybe. You assign responsibility to different people. You have good relationships, hopefully. Hire the right people to carry out the job, and you got to direct the work of employees. So organizing is very important. Staffing. If you get the wrong person, sometimes it's hard to get them out of your company. They can be fired, but in some places, the wrong person is not going to help your company. Um, the right person can be your biggest asset in a business. So it's important that as a human resource manager, you hire the right person. Sometimes it's hard to tell and you never know, but make sure you have good training and help people be a better staff person. Leading. I got my master's degree in leadership and higher education. Leading is very important. We will talk more about this later. And your big project this 9 weeks will be a paper about leadership styles. Controlling. That can be a bad word, controlling. Some people are too controlling. There has to be some controls, there has to be rules, even in school, even in every aspect of our lives have to be controlled in some ways. Okay, so you had to make sure, especially financially, you want to make sure your money. If this was your business, wouldn't you want your money to be controlled and make sure your money was put in the right place and nobody's stealing or doing things they shouldn't? Okay, that's a lot of what controlling means. Here's some good, effective management techniques. A lot of times, if I've been in the school setting, or I remember I worked at a bank, if there were not clear directions, or if you are not sure, you either need to ask questions or find out what you're supposed to do. Talk to somebody, talk to another employee. Make sure your culture, if that's the way you're supposed to find out, if you're not sure what to do, ask. And a lot of times when mistakes are made, directions are not clear. So, either as a manager or employee, make sure you know what you're doing. Treat employees fairly. Have you ever had a teacher that played favorites? You know, we are, as teachers and as managers, are supposed to treat everyone fairly. Be firm when necessary, set a good example, and delegate responsibilities. Sometimes managers seem to do too much because the job's not getting done. That's when you need to hire somebody that is effective for the job. If you've ever worked in a team, it always seems like one person might do more. So be careful as a manager if you ever become a manager that you're not doing too much. To foster teamwork means to make sure that your people are happy. A good manager talks to their people and knows what they need. Ethics, that's doing the right thing, being honest, and making sure that uh, things aren't happening behind the scenes that shouldn't be. That is all of my, that is a foundation of management. That is a basic. It's the very first thing we'll do in management. We're going to keep talking about um, management, though, too, later. I will hopefully talk to you later. I'm going to put this PowerPoint on there so you'll have some answers. Some of y'all are not getting the key terms right. So make sure on the key terms that you put the right answer. I will talk to y'all later.